Live in 3, 2, 1. Cool. What's going on? Wade's in the house. We're waiting for Marcus. We're waiting possibly for Vinny and Dak. I'm not sure if he's coming through, but I did send him an invite. Happy New Year, everyone. I guess early New Year. I don't really have a lot going on this weekend. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm hosting a party, but that's pretty much it. It's nice and 55 degrees here in Seattle, which is so weird. It's usually like ice cold, man. You know how it is, man. So
Well, yeah, it's colder than that here right now. I think it's in the low 40s.
that's nice, though. I mean, for just January, December, for sure.
Yeah. The days are really nice, so it's not so bad during the day, as long as you're in the sunlight and the wind's not blowing too hard.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Do you have any big plans for NYE, or is it amateur night for you too?
Uh, no, it's not amateur night for sure. I've got a buddy that lives in Edmond, and for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, I can't remember how long it's been. We go to his house and hang out at his house. And this year, everybody's bringing records, and we're gonna have a record party and just get smashed and then pass
Cool.
out at his house.
Nice. That's the way to do it, man. Yeah, whatever you guys are doing out there, I hope you all stay safe. We're just doing kind of a random. I know everyone's kind of busy this week, with Christmas being on Monday. But just want to kick out one more Ronin 5 show before the end of the year. I'll still be doing my show on Sunday. My fantasy football team died last week. My nephew beat me in the championship, and he's been talking shit all week. And he's
Well,
like 12. So,
I mean, at least he played. I don't even do the fantasy football stuff. So
oh yeah, it's fun, man. It's just family, so like it's not like that big deal, or big of a deal. But what's going on? Street food is good, aka up the one. I always forget your name, man. But yeah, thanks for coming through from Hawaii. He's got like 15 names on like social media. Like I can't keep up with the dude, but no, he's a good guy. Um, Streaming in from Hawaii. So what you drinking tonight, man?
uh, it's Heirloom Rustic Ales. It's a German Pilsner. It's a brewery out of Tulsa. They make pretty good stuff. So
Cool.
I'm going to drink that. I've got a couple of those left, and I'm going to get into my Yingling.
Nice. I haven't had
Yeah.
Yinling since 2016. Last time I had Yinling.
Really?
Yeah, they don't have it here in like I don't think they have it on the West Coast, like anywhere.
No, not yet. I mean, it got to Oklahoma like 6 or 7 months ago.
Yeah. I wouldn't say like I'm a huge fan of it, but I did like but when I'm over on the East Coast, like I seek it out, you know what I mean? Just to have something
Yeah.
different. Um Bring the San Miguel and the Red Horse. That's a Filipino brewery for all you domestic or international brewery type people. What's up, Papa Wheelie? If you guys aren't following Papa Wheelie, we're trying to get him to 1,000 subs. He streams a ton of video games and all that good stuff. So thanks for coming through on the chat. Again,
Right on.
we're just trying to do a quick show today. I appreciate Wade for coming through and helping me out with some stuff, but yeah, 2023 was kind of an interesting year, if you will, as far as collectibles. I mean, I definitely pared back my spec. I don't even think I even spec anymore. I think that's kind of the going trend. I've been watching a lot of shows, and I remember looking at my Wade's gonna come back a little bit, but I remember looking at my comic book spec and even my Pokemon spec, like all the spec has just come down to screeching, I wouldn't say halt, but pause, if you will.
Sorry.
It's all good, man. It happens all the time. But yeah, I was just saying, like I don't, whether it's the economy or just like I think mostly it's just I don't get that much enjoyment out of specking anymore. You know, I mean, even when I was specking, I was still reading stuff. Like it wasn't like one of those things. What's up, Trey? Happy New Year, Trey. Good to see you in the chat. But yeah, man, I mean, when as I became better friends with Trey, actually, I stopped specking a lot, and again to know you and just guys and just overall just kind of like I'm over it. But that's
Well,
for Hokey scene, good buddy. Yeah.
it's really hard right now. I mean, Prices, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's the flavor of the week stuff that's going to hold value for a little bit, but
Yeah.
for the most part, the market is failing. I mean, it's leveling out from the pandemic high. So, like, right now is the time to save up your money and invest in comics that you couldn't invest in before because the price was too high.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really interesting right now because, like, if you're a part of any sort of RAS group, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, I mean, wherever you're doing it at,
Hmm.
you buy a book on the RAS, and the next week the book's not worth what it was, and it makes it difficult to kind of want to invest in that kind of stuff or invest in a RAS. Um, but like I said, I mean, it won't stay low like this forever. I mean, this has happened before. It's happened a bunch, actually. And so prices will continue to drop. And I think it's just in your best interest to save that money that you want to waste on something and then invest in something that you know is going to recover well. Uh, yeah, Trey's titty
Do
books.
you
Yeah,
think? Do you? I also
save your
have like.
save your titty book money and invest in a Silver Age key. I mean, like that. Like I'm telling you. Like even the Silver Age keys are dropping right now, but they're
Mhm.
not going to drop like everything else is.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not going to affect everything. Everything's going to take a little bit of a loss, but I feel like the modern stuff is getting hit so goddamn hard. Like one of the things I can think of right now was like I won a GI Joe. I think it was a one of like 500 variant. And that
Mhm.
thing, like what it was RAS for, I looked it up the other day and it dropped off $150 from when it was RAS.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, like, I guess buy it if you can and just wait for it to rebound. But I don't know. I don't know. I think the market is not done, but it will return. People will
Mhm.
start to collect. A lot of it has to do with the economy as well.
Yeah,
You
big
know,
time. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like if you're used to paying $100 for groceries a week and now it's 400, you don't have the money to go buy art or comics or any sort of collectible, and that's why you're
Yeah.
seeing the market fall off.
I think the other thing too, is like two things I kind of wanted to like touch on. So I posted this Instagram post of what was it, Captain Carter #1, the 1 in 25 variant that everyone
Yeah,
was saying like, get this book, it's long-term hold, MCU, yada yada. And like whether you want to say people were pushing it, there was a lot of focus on it. And the reasons being is because it was like the actual first Captain Carter in the MCU, yada yada. Cool. Um, I saw a sale and I just laughed. There was a post. I posted it on my Instagram. Um, it sold for 15 bucks. And this book
yeah,
was a buck and a quarter. Like this was a buck and a quarter like late 2022. So when rates start to go up, when kind of like people were like, "Oh shit, like this thing's ending," kind of thing. So, um and I want to bring that as an example because people were saying like, "Well, it's a buy in the dip opportunity," or like stuff like that. I think there's a lot of books that just are never gonna come back. Like NFTs, 99% of NFTs just are never gonna come back to 2023 prices, let alone 2021, 2020. I think there's just a lot of shit that's just never gonna it's just never gonna come back. And you just kind of leave that in bins, man. And like Trey, man, like shout out to you, man. Like you got me on this like kick of what's a D plus character and why is that selling for $100 character or an A plus character, Um Pickles one in Black Panther 3-1. I feel like that was the book and that Captain Carter book were like the start of kind of the you better sell your shit and not hold on to it anymore. And then just couple with that, like the whole reason, minus the pandemic, a major reason of these books going up in value was the success of the shows and the great, stories that were being told. And there's a lot of pressure on Marvel. I'll say that, like Loki was great. I know you liked it, right?
yeah.
Um, I thought that the shit. What's her name?
But you're not
Kate.
gonna catch my ass buying Loki books
What's
because
that?
of it. You're not
Right.
gonna find me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
they're like maybe Loki's first appearance, but other than that,
Yeah,
uh,
you didn't get that like sense of like, oh man, I gotta get that first
yeah,
missed minutes or shit like that,
nope,
you know? Yeah.
nope,
We may be a select few that didn't get that urge, but I definitely didn't feel it like I used to, you know? I think
right.
fatigue or whatever.
Well, I mean, after taking loss after loss like that, I mean, it's going to hit your pocketbook eventually. I mean, unless you just have an endless supply of cash, but most people don't.
Yeah, and people that do have an endless supply of cash, they're not gonna waste it on shit like this. You know what I
No,
mean?
no.
That's the other thing too. So anyway, we could probably go on for another 15, 20, 30 hours. But
Yeah,
I know everyone
right.
I know it's Friday night, but we wanna I would prefer to have a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into it, man. I
Okay.
don't know where our good friend Marcus is, but it's all good. Let's see. Hold on a second. God damn it. Um. All right, cool. And real quick, we're about to start the show or get into the slides here. I want to thank all 8 to 9 people that are joining us tonight for a quick little show, a quickie, if you will. Um, and just I want to thank everyone's support throughout the whole entire year, man. Me and my buddy Jason started the show in like late January, and it was just two freaking nerds from high school that want to get together every Sunday and just bullshit. And we went from like I think 50 subscribers in February to we're at 481 today, which I think is pretty tight. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Trey. Yeah, exactly. He's in a hotel with bad audio, guaranteed for sure. Trey, I'm gonna hit you up in 2024, man. We need to get you back on and just I miss you, dude. So we'll figure something out. But yeah, just I've never tried to say like buy this and like it'll go up. It's just more of like I kind of approach things just kind of like do like investments in general. Like, hey, take a look at this, and if you think it makes sense, go for it. But I'm never gonna say like buy this, it's bound to go up, or do this with that. Just more of a conversation piece. But Way now we're kind of talking, or Way was talking about the functionality of card games, and this new One Piece box that came out. Actually, Fedora showed me it, and he also was like, "This is insane." A case of this went for like $15,000, and this game just came out. I haven't even heard of it. I can't find it anywhere. So it kind of reminds me of Lorcana, but Wade, the reason I brought out is One Piece is like I'm always thinking like 5 to 10 years down the road,
Well,
and
yeah.
One
I mean,
Piece.
One Piece is one of the most famous like animes out there, but $500 a box when the normal box of Magic the Gathering is trading for about $210. I mean,
Mm-hmm,
you're taking a huge gamble on a game that might not be around
mm-hmm,
a year after this box comes out.
yeah,
And how so how are you going to attract people that don't know about One Piece? Not everyone knows about that. I know it
mm-hmm,
because I watched it years ago, but I quit watching it because after season 10, I was like, they're never going to find the fucking treasure. They're not going to do it. And I don't know what season they're on now, but like, you got a TV show where it's like 10 minutes of catching you up, 10 minutes of show, and then 10 minutes of telling you what's going to happen next time. And I got tired of the fucking show. I mean, I really did. I mean, it just kept going and going and going. It's kind of like what's that comic? Something is killing the children. Like that book
oh
should have ended that should have ended a long time ago because every time they get close to like a conclusion or a clue, some bullshit happens and they draw it out for another 10 comics. Like
yeah,
it just, I mean, I know kids love it. My daughter watches it. Like, I got her little like DVD player so she could watch all the episodes. But I'm telling you, like, there it has a huge following. But outside that following, how are you going to get somebody to invest $500 into this box? Like, if nobody knows anything about it, and you like you said, you can't even find the stuff.
mm-hmm.
So how are you going to buy a box about the game and then explain it to somebody else?
Yeah,
So
and I just like I feel like it's like hit while the iron's hot type of thing. So it's like the Pickles is in the chat. I'm pretty sure he's sick. He's finished up one of his tattoos. I'm sure he's recovering from it. But he said like he watched the live show and he was like it was actually pretty good. And I was
No,
like, well,
it's not bad.
why did you watch the live show? And he's like, oh, because everyone keeps talking about One Piece and it's like on my algorithm on Netflix, right? I tried my hardest to try and watch the anime, and man, I just like kind of like what you just said. Like it's 5 to 10 minutes of catch up. There's 10 minutes of like what's actually going on, and then like next on the next episode of One Piece. And
Yeah.
I think the only reason I would watch it would be like to learn Japanese, like watching subtitles, but I just can't force myself to watch it. I'd rather watch like Castlevania.
You're not gonna learn fucking Japanese from watching One Piece.
I mean,
they're just yelling and
yeah,
that show's bananas. I'm not talking shit about the show. The show is it's absolutely funny, but there has to be a conclusion. There has to be something. I mean, I'm telling you, like I can go grab them. They're sitting on a shelf over there, and I can grab all of them. And I watched every single one of them. And then finally, I was just like, man, this is going to get drawn out for the next 20 years. And here we oh shit! Look who showed up.
What's up, Vinny?
What up,
Vinny? What you doing?
Not too much. How y'all doing?
Let's see them Knicks,
man.
It's never gonna happen.
Whatever. I bet if I throw enough money at
he's like, let's see him.
Yeah, I'm looking. Why do you always look like you got kidnapped by the Taliban and they're making a video, like trying to ransom for you from the government?
I don't know if this is any different. You look the exact same way, except with some posters behind you.
Good times, man.
But yeah, sorry, we're talking about One Piece and overpriced the card game that's coming out for it, and they're asking $500 a box for it. And my point is that not enough people know about One Piece to want to go spend $500 on a box of cards.
That's the problem, man. We've talked about this before. There's no real entry point for kids, or it's just like it's just a bunch of adults who are hyping stuff up, and the prices go crazy. And like,
I mean, that's over $10 a pack.
Yeah, like it's nuts.
Yeah,
it sucks because like you really don't know if any of these games are going to make it. MetaZoo, I mean, One Piece, yes, I think you guys were probably talking about how popular the series is, but yeah, I don't know how kids are supposed to get in or even care about it aside from the collectability part of it. But that's just like trading baseball cards or sports
prospects.
Whatever,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's just something that I thought was like crazy, and especially in 2023, for a new set for, and Wade, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, you kind of compare this to Lorcana and being like the game's not actually being played. And Cody, he said it was fun, but it wasn't like, I felt like when Cody was talking about it was like, yeah, it was a fun game, but he wasn't like, oh shit, I played for like 5 hours and I wanted to buy another box. And I wanted this other, like, there wasn't like organic kind of like progression of this. And like, I can't find, like, I went on YouTube and a lot of the videos they were just ripping packs open or, doing a review, but there was no actual gameplay of it. And I know you mentioned Final Fantasy, like the card game, like just, it went poo-pooed. But oddly enough, I actually was trying to find a cloud Final Fantasy VII trading card game, and they're kind of expensive, the singles. But no one plays the game, which is how it should be. So,
but I think also Pokemon too. Like my son got into it, and his friends are not playing Pokemon. I'm taking him to a comic store where they do Pokemon on Mondays, and trying to have him learn, but his friends are just buying them. They're just buying the cards and putting them in binders. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's another thing. So let's just say that you do have a bunch of money, and let's say you invest a couple $1,000s into it. You get all these cards, you get an awesome deck put together. Then what do you do when you can't play with anybody?
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
I mean, yeah, I don't see it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should hit up some of the places I played Magic at, see if there's any interest in it. But I haven't heard anything about it. Usually this kind of stuff will end up, if it's popular enough, in my algorithm on YouTube. I haven't seen shit about it until you brought it up.
Yeah. And again, shout out to homie Fedora, who's always kind of looking out for stuff that I don't know, it's his generation type of thing. But
yeah, good on him. I mean, good on him for finding it. I mean, that's cool. But and I'm pretty sure his opinion was pretty much the same.
He was this is nuts, bro. Like, this is nuts. Yeah.
That's twice the price of just a normal set that comes out quarterly. It's twice the price. It's a little bit more than twice the price of an average box of Magic the Gathering. I'm not talking about Lords of the Rings. I'm not talking about the random collector booster. I'm not talking about just the normal box that comes out. They're about $210.
Yeah, I mean that's like, and if a kid really wants to play, right, they can go online and get like a red, or I don't even know if it's called a red deck anymore, but you can go online and get like a starter deck for pretty good, pretty fair amount of money and start playing the game. But yeah, anyway, Vampire Hunter D, yeah, for sure. Best animes out there if anyone's trying to look at some. That's old school shit, but yeah, Vampire Hunter D is like one of my favorite. Ninja Scroll, of course. Oh yes, have to do that.
And the there was an anime about it. I don't know what they call it when they have a season of shows. There was a Ninja Scroll show, actually, anime.
Oh, really? I didn't know
that.
Yeah,
I'll find it before the show's over and show it to you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it did too well, but I still watch it. I have that on DVD still. That's how much I love it.
Yeah.
And then I don't have that much, but just looking forward to Pokemon in 2024 for you Pokemon collectors. The one thing I was telling Vinny about this too, is like, I still think Pokemon, even though kids don't play it, it's still a fairly inexpensive entry point where like you can buy a pack for $2.99, save your allowance, like that was a standard for like when we were kids. So I think
it was like 50 cents when we were kids.
Yeah, it was.
For a card pack. Yeah.
I know. I remember I wasn't a big, but like middle school, all I did was play basketball and Magic the Gathering. I was a tiny little kid. And we used to get 3rd edition, revised edition packs for like 2 for $3, man. And it was like, oh man, I'm going to save all my freaking lunch money and buy freaking Magic the Gathering cards. Now those packs go for like $400, $500. But yeah. As a kid, like that's a good entry point to like do your hobbies, and I think Pokemon, that's why one of the reasons they're so successful is the property, of course, but the entry point for all ages, you can get into it too. So
I'll tell you what, when Magic the Gathering first came out, Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast, or whoever the fuck owned it at the time, they put a game out called Spellfire. And Spellfire was, you can buy the whole set on eBay for like $200. It died. Like it was going really well, and they fucked a bunch of shit up, and then like the game died off.
Yeah.
But the packs were half the price, so I bought Spellfire instead of Magic the Gathering. And so at the comic book shop at the time that I was going to, everybody bought Spellfire instead of Magic the Gathering. We all played Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I think 3 card sets came out. They changed some rules, and then it died.
Yeah, y'all bought the Zoom of TCGs.
Yeah, pretty much. but they had like Spellfire, and then they went into Ravenloft, and then I can't remember everything that they went into, but they had these add-on like pack sets that came out, and we were playing that weekly. And when I say week, I like 8 of us playing at the same time, and it was a blast. It was like a precursor to Commander in Magic the Gathering.
You wonder though, there might be some collectability in that stuff, just because it was kind of like an alternative game that was around at that time.
Well, and the cards were bananas because it was like real people dressed up in armor and shit. And I don't know where they found these people. You can I'm not kidding. Like you can Google Spellfire and take a look at it. It's bizarre. Just as bizarre as Magic the Gathering was, like the art was in that first 3 sets, before they got established and had like true artists come in, not their just best friend that took art 3, like, so, but it was a fun game. It was fun. And we had a blast playing it.
Yeah.
And then, I missed the whole thing and then came into Magic the Gathering. Probably around Zendikar, and that's when I started playing Magic the Gathering, and then stayed around for 3 or 4 years, and then have got out of it, but play online. So I play a lot online, but like as far as like showing up for releases and stuff like that, I don't do it anymore.
Wow, that's crazy.
Lots of game, man. Yeah, and what Cody said, man, like the mid '90s, like that boom of card collecting games was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so some comic stuff. I don't have a lot. I feel like the CGC thing's been hit with just everyone's been talking about it. I've been seeing revamps, all that stuff. I do have one question about it for you guys. That Brian's show actually made me think of this. Actually, Paper Chase Comics show is making me think of this, and I guess Brian's show too. But so ultimately, they're gonna have to do reholders. It's probably gonna look different. I don't know how thick it's gonna be, or if there's gonna be like some type of like crack or symbol or something that you have to, that if you crack it, like it's gonna break and all that. But if let's say that, I mean, they're gonna have to research some R&D and some probably new machines, I'm assuming. But let's say the price of grading goes from like $24 to like $35. It's a pretty big swing. Are you just like done with CGC? And then do you think a swing to CBCS will like occur?
There's literally people out there right now that CGC could rape their wife and they would still send books into them. Like, yeah, just have at it. Yeah, double teamer. I don't care. I'm gonna send you books anyways. Like, dude, I'm telling you. How many times does shit like this have to happen and people still sell books into them? I mean, it's a standard now. Mm-hmm. So if you want top dollar for your book, you need a 9.8 from CGC, not PGX, not CBCS, or whatever the fuck else is out there. I mean,
that's it. It's like CGC or CBCS, really.
I think as long as it's the market leader, it's people are still going to send in to CGC. It doesn't really matter.
Kind of what I think too.
Yeah. So until like influencers, start going, man, fuck this shit. I'm tired of CGC. I'm going to CBCS. They're not going to do anything. They could fix it really easy. I mean, they really could. They could put a serial number, like etch a serial number onto the
I'm just kidding.
No, not yeah. Well, the hell am I trying to say? That was actually a good idea. Switch to permanent encapsulation to protect themselves. That's actually a really good idea. Or add the label inside the plastic sleeve and redo the case so that you can't separate the two. Put a serial number on the actual plastic that the book is in. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that they could do, and then require them to send all of that in, like, or not take any books that have been cracked to be reholstered.
That's kind of what I thought it would happen. Is they're just going to say, if you want to recrack it, you have to send it to CGC uncracked. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. It's not a big deal for me personally because like I stopped my like epic submission of books like 8 months ago just due to the cost of it and having to store everything.
Yeah, it takes a lot of room to do that stuff. I mean, talk to Doc Joe. He grades everything. That dude like like
he grades his house. He'd grade his house.
Yeah. He'd encapsulate his house if his wife wouldn't divorce him.
Encapsulate his wife. Vinny, the video game expert, and I guess Wade, you too, man. So like I'm kind of like discovering this whole like video game collecting. I know a little bit of the history of stuff, but like the collecting part, I always like email or text Vinny, and Wade, I'm always asking like, hey man, like, what do you think of this game and yada yada. Do you think that, because you guys said CGC if you're going to grade a video game, but now that this has happened, does that affect your kind of opinion about grading video games with CGC?
Well, I don't feel like they're the leader in video game grading. Honestly, I just went to them because I'm familiar with them. I think WADA is demanding a higher return on your investment than CGC is.
I'll say, oddly enough, CGC is kind of matching WADA. Honestly,
are they? Okay, all right.
Yeah, from watching the like a lot of the weekly auctions, they're kind of going for about the same. I don't know how they got that. Maybe it's just their sort of dominance in the comic book market that's doing that. But I didn't think it would happen so quickly. I thought they would, need some time to kind of be established. But also what did happen was like the main grader from WADA left and went to CGC also. So it's kind of trusted, you know what I mean? Like the guy who basically knows everything left WADA and went to CGC. So I would trust.
So WADA is basically CGC.
Yeah, it's kind of like Steve Barak going to CBCS.
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing.
And then he just disappeared into the night.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
I mean, so between those two, I kind of prefer CGC just because they're faster, quite frankly.
Yeah, they're super fast.
The times were just outrageous. Like, it didn't even make sense to really submit. I don't know. It just didn't really make sense. And then I prefer VGA because they're like 20 minutes away from my house. So I like VGA, but from a selling standpoint, it's probably not going to be the best idea, but they're the only ones grading what I collect, which is the Japanese sealed games and the Japanese unopened games and stuff like that. So for right now, but then even that is making me think, well, should I wait until CGC starts grading some of this stuff, or so I'm still a little torn about what to do. So right now, I mean, if it's the only thing is CGC and WADA, if it's unopened, they will just open it and call it CIB, which sucks, for something that's unsealed. I don't like that. So anything that's unopened and it's foreign, I'm sending it to VGA. I'm not even chancing it with a CIB grade.
That sucks.
Yeah. Like, I'll send my CIBs to them, but not my unopened CIBs. That's like destroying a pristine game, in my opinion.
Right.
Wait, are you saying that WADA opens your games?
Yeah, and they're just graded as CIB.
What?
If it's unopened, if it's not sealed but unopened, like if it's I don't even know if I have an example, but if it's I probably do. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Hold on, let me push around my OA of Tom McFarlane and my my
so
holy grail.
you're telling me they open this?
Yeah, that was sealed though. That was originally sealed. So they're not gonna open that.
Oh, that's what I thought you were saying.
Here's an example.
Here, I'll put you on screen because I'm curious of what you.
So this duck hunt right here, right? It's not sealed. It's not sealed, but it was, it was unopened.
They opened it to take the book out.
You can tell that it wasn't open because if you look along the spine, then you can see if there's no flakes, you can see that it wasn't open. Now, if you send, not that WADA or CGC is even grading these yet, but if you send something like this in, they're just going to open it and call it CIB. So what happened? Okay, so for another example, which I actually don't ask me why I have all this shit here. Okay, so this Zelda. This is a Spanish version of Zelda.
That's sick.
Okay, this was not. Somebody opened the cellophane, but it wasn't actually opened originally. So if I sent this in to CGC or WADA, they would actually open it and grade it as CIB.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because they grade the book, the game, and the box.
Okay.
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay.
Whereas VGA won't do that.
VGA won't do that.
Okay.
I just noticed Vinny's little like his little quote on the bottom of his name. It says Fur doesn't care. No one cares. I know. Nobody cares. I know.
Nobody cares, man.
It's the life I live. Anyway, so call of the year, I want to say Fedora's in the chat. What's going on, Fedora? He's outside. He's still trying to find a home, everyone. So if you guys could help him out with that, that'd be great. His call of the fucking year, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. He works at Midtown, so he gets a lot of he reads a lot of his stuff, man. And we were on a show, our Sunday show a while back, and he said, pick this up. It's a great read. I don't know if anything's going to come about it, and just kind of, whatnot. And this book sold for like $100 the other day, man. I think it's obviously a lot of FOMO for sure, but kind of what Brian's show was alluding to as well. Like, good stories are what's selling right now, not first appearances, not like it's a combo of a great story, really eerie, like murder type stuff, and like not a big two distributor, right? Or a big two publisher. So low print, right? No one was ordering this book.
Well, the FOMO is going to pass on that book, and then we'll see what it does. And I don't think that book was as popular as Department of Truth, which is still doing fantastic.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying Fedora wasn't good to call the book out, but let's see what it does in a couple of months, because I think a lot of that was driven by the fact that people like you and Fedora were like, man, this book is fucking fantastic. And they're like, oh shit, I missed it. Now I've got to go find it.
Right.
And it drove the price up.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. Give it 6 months. Like the one thing that I'll always do with a book is give it 6 months to see how it plays out. The first 6 is what I call it. And
it's like month number 4 right now. I think it's been out for a couple months.
Right.
Yeah,
but
so
usually
I'm not saying it's $100 book. Like we were both
no.
Yeah.
I don't think you are.
No.
I don't think you are, but yeah, usually the first story arc will conclude in the first 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see exactly what the book's going to do. I'm not telling you not to buy it. I'm just saying that it just seems to me that people are fucking, the market is so bad that people just spec on covers.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, they don't even read the book. They're just like, hey man, look at the art from this artist. Fan fucking tastic. If it's that fucking great, buy the original art.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to spend money or go through the trouble of trying to collect a book so you can resell it on eBay for $10 more than you sold it for?
Yeah. Minus fees, minus handling, all that other bullshit, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. The market's in disarray right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been like that for a while, though. People have been.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. It's been like that for at least a year and a half. That's how long I've been back looking at stuff, and these people are like, man, you got to get this cover. And I'm like, well, what happens in the book? Well, I don't know. Just look at that cover. It's pristine. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm not investing money in that. You fucking retard. Dude, you got to have something there. There's got to be a reason. Because all you're driving is a FOMO market.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 25s, who cares if there's nothing to hold that 1 in 25? A perfect example is what is it? The Thrawn Matina cover. That book is still holding value, partially because of the artist, but partially because he just became a character in canon Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think even though the show wasn't that fantastic, that he's back, that cover has held its value. But books like Heir to the Empire #1, you can get a 9.8 for less than $700 now.
Yeah.
So it's really strange. The market is super disarray right now, and it's just people trying to figure out a way to keep it going so they can keep making money off of it. I think that if people open their eyes, like I said earlier, save your money, don't buy titty books, don't buy these FOMO covers, and invest into something that's going to sustain long term. I think you'll be in a way better place.
I feel like this is like the long-term show now, because Dak was basically saying the same stuff you were saying today, like a week ago, man. He
I
like,
believe it. I
you
believe
know,
it.
and of course, like everyone, like, we do this hobby because we enjoy it, right? But we'd all be lying if it wasn't like, well, it's fun to spec too, or not spec, but like have something for $5 and have it be worth $100 to $200, right?
Right. Get rid of the shit before it drops.
Yeah, but
Like, I mean,
sustainability too, right?
I think we're already at that point, unfortunately. Like
yeah,
I'm looking back, kicking myself, like, man, I should have sold so many more of these
yeah,
books during the pandemic than I
yeah,
did. I sold maybe
I can
like
tell
2
you.
or 3, and I'm like, I should have sold all this shit. Like,
yeah,
Like,
real.
back in the old CBSI days, like I sold my Saga RRP for like $2,600. It was the last book I razzed before I bounced,
Wow.
and I bought it for $1,000, and it was a fantastic price. That's why I bought it. And then I remember, like, I don't know, 2 years ago or something, looking up what it would cost me to buy another one because I didn't really want to sell it. I
mhm,
did for one reason or another. I don't know,
yeah,
whatever reason. And that goddamn thing was selling for like $9,000. And I was
wow,
like, son of a bitch. And then, I get back in. There was a Raz group running, and they put one up for $3,000. I put $1,000 into it and won it.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, like, I've owned 2 copies of it, and I've never paid over $1,000 for it. And but this one I'm going to hold on to.
yeah, and
That,
that's not like, I can't get too mad at that because it didn't have any like show spec. Like
no,
there's like, oh, be a great show, but there's no actual like,
no,
Netflix
it's a
is optioning
fantastic
this.
comic. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's
just
not for
great.
kids. There's like dragon dicks everywhere and stuff like that. But like, that's a fantastic comic. I mean, it is. What's his name? Why the Last Man? Whoever wrote that, Brian
Mhm.
K. Vaughan,
Brian
I
came on.
think. Yeah, he wrote Saga, and then you got Fiona Staples doing the artwork. And so, I
It's
mean,
great.
yeah, it's. I am. I think it's still going, but they're always on hiatus and stuff. But
Mhm.
I mean, at the time, like the first 4 years, they were pretty on track with it, and it was a pretty good story.
Yeah.
But that's just one book I can think about right now that, like, and it's still maintaining. I mean, it's around $3,000. It might have gone up a little bit, but it's just a book that you know people want.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It's
still like 2,500. I just looked, but
Did you?
yeah,
Yeah,
you're right though. It did go all the way up crazy high, and then it's back
yeah,
down.
back down.
yeah. And I mean, there's several books like that are modern. I mean, Walking Dead #1's one I can think of. And uh, another fantastic story, Invincible #1. I mean,
Mhm.
Kurtman, anything he touches is gold.
Dude, I was trying to find the compendium, the first one
Yeah,
for Christmas for one of my nephews, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I went to Barnes and Noble, I went to 2 comic book stores. I finally found one, but it was too late. But yeah, I mean, there's not as many Barnes and Noble around me anymore, but the fact that it was sold out, it tells you that, and Fedora can attest to this because he talked about it. Gen Z loves that freaking story, man. They're scooping it
yeah,
up, so that's cool for the future of comics, right? Not first appearances and titty covers, but
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
anyway. Let's see here.
fuck Taylor Swift.
So this is just something I noticed. Shout out to Blue Green Artifacts. So specifically more magazines, because I think that market's still really early. I wouldn't like I was talking to Trey about this a while back, and I was like, man, do you think we should be looking for magazines and start and grading them now? And he is like, no, just like find them for cheap, and then if I don't,
See what happens.
see what happens, because like the market right now for graded magazines is really, it just hasn't matured, or it hasn't really even like started to grow. But that Taylor Swift Time magazine in 9.6 sold for $180 last week. So if you find one, this one specifically, and you can get a good copy, which is really hard to do on newsstand copies of any magazine, you get in high grade. That's not a bad flip. Obviously, she has a lot of fans, so that's probably what's hitting it. Vinny, I'm glad you came today because I had a question. I don't know if you talked about this or if it was Marcus, but the NFT Squaresoft cloud action figure. Have you heard about this?
That might have been Marcus then.
Okay, so I'm curious what you think about this. So it's pre-order, but you can buy one on eBay. Evidently, they have it in hand, quote unquote.
Yeah.
This is Squaresoft's website. It's the Final Fantasy VII Cloud Strife figure. It's pretty cool. $130. I don't know how big it is, but it comes with an NFT.
Go back down, scroll down. It said, in order to redeem a digital. Okay. Okay.
You know, it's the figure's pretty cool. I mean, like I would get one just because I'm a Final Fantasy VII freak. But man, what do you think of this? Like an action figure being inside the box, the NFT, and then like I don't know, like yeah. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'll say this: it's not. It's interesting, but it's not novel. For the NFT space, like there a lot of times there are NFTs that are attached to physical goods, like our physical items.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is the first or not. I'm trying to think because I do have.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
I mean, how many statues are they selling? So, I mean, can you buy 20 of these? Like, I mean, the only thing that's going to make that NFT worth a shit is if it's rare. So, are there like, do you buy the statue and then you gamble on tiers of NFTs where like there's like a 1 of 1, a 1 of 5? Like, how does that work? Because if you sell 8 million statues worldwide and there's 8 million of these things out there, I mean, what's it going to be worth? Is your NFT?
I'm not.
I see
what you mean. I don't know if they're like limited to. I don't think it's a limited edition. I would say though that I did talk to another like action figure collector, and he was saying that they don't really sell a lot of these because of the price point. So his thoughts were like there probably won't be a lot sold because of how expensive they are, and it's very like it's. I mean, I love Final Fantasy VII, but I don't think a lot of people know who Cloud is, right?
Well, I do too, but you're married. If I have a bunch of fucking Cloud Stripe statues and fucking Red 8 and all this other bullshit all over my house, I'm never going to get laid again. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, like, you got a good personality, Wade. Don't whatever. Don't sell yourself short.
And then a girl shows up and is like, "What is this rape dungeon?" I'm like, "No. Listen, I talked to my friend Vinny. He said it's worth money. That's why it's here." She's like, "Bullshit. I'm leaving." All right, bullshit. No, but I mean, it's cool. It's cool for $129 or whatever it was. I mean, like if you're into Final Fantasy VII, like I mean, and you get an NFT as well, but I just don't understand like how it's an incentive to buy this statue if there's not like a chance to get like a certain NFT that will retain a value higher than the statue itself.
I think. Well, I don't think the point of the NFT here is for that. I think here they're really using it as a COA, like certificate of authenticity. So I think that's kind of what the usage has been a lot of times, and that's what they've been saying that NFTs will be in many respects for like artwork and things like that. It'll be that certificate of authenticity, and it kind of moves along with the item. So if I have this item and I sell it, then it'll, I should transfer the NFT to whoever I'm selling it to as well. And then what the chain of title is, on it. So that's kind of, I think probably more what it is. Like I have some NFTs now that are redeemable for toys, which I'm going to do. Like Invisible Friends did these sick ass toys actually. But I have, you had to buy the NFT and then you can choose to keep the NFT or redeem it for the toy. But I'm 100% just gonna redeem them for the toys. Like, I don't, I guess there's that kind of like Damien Hirst did it, right? That was that conversation about he had these pieces as NFTs, and then you could trade them in for a physical piece, but you'd have to burn the NFT. And I mean, the physical kind of won out. Honestly, I think the NFTs themselves were like probably like a few grand, and like the physical was like 20 grand.
Of course,
wow.
yeah.
You know, so that's kind of happened. He's doing it again right now with the you know, the series that he did that looks like the Drake cover, that last Drake out, or maybe few Drake albums ago, with all the pregnant women. But he was giving people that option, but you got to buy it for like $2,500, the print.
Jesus.
So I think just in and of itself, the print is going to be worth more, just because the buying is more. The NFT is like $200.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the last thing I saw from Damien Hirst was a collection of, I don't know, everything was pink, and it was really expensive. I mean, like 40 grand. And I was just like, man, come on, you're going to have to do better than this for 40 grand. I'm not going to invest 40 grand into this. It looks like he like put it on like a wheel that you would like toss pottery on, and then just dump paint on it, and it like spread out like that little thing we could buy when we were kids to do art.
Yeah.
It looked like that. It was like 40 grand. I was like, Jesus Christ, Damon, you need to calm down. You need to go back to cutting animals in half and suspending them. And,
you know. Encapsulating sharks. Yeah.
Or just, you know, your blood cum fucking thing for the Metallica covers. He would take blood in his own cum and then put it on glass and suspend it and take photos of it. And there's a Metallica cover. I can't remember which album. You could probably look it up and see, but I think it's called Load or something. But yeah, I mean, that's the shit that, like, that's the shit he does, man. And people worldwide seem to really love it. But I just kind of look at his stuff. I'm just kind of like,
I'm not going to lie to you. I was in college. I don't know if I should even tell this story, but I was in college, right? I was in my first art class.
I just talked about cum.
I mean, so I was in my first art class in college, freshman year, right? And it was a painting class, right? And okay, so basically I was like doing paintings, you know, like I would do like realistic paintings, things like that. And then the teacher would be like, oh yeah, that's cool. You should, like, you know, grab some dirt or some grass and rub it on your painting and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. I don't know. Like, I guess partially, you know, I get the concept of like doing something different and this and that.
Thinking outside the box. But
at the time I was like, I don't know. I was like, I kind of like just learning how to paint and doing like more realistic stuff and things like that.
I'm going to be a lawyer. I don't really need to do this.
Yeah. I was doing like very realistic paintings, right? And I had a whole process to it and stuff like that. And eventually on the last day, he shows us his artwork, right? So he starts and it's like, you know, birds and nature and stuff like that. And then he starts doing all these like super abstract paintings. He starts showing them, and he then went into the process of his like abstract paintings. And so what he would do, very similar to what Wade is talking about, he had vials of blood, of his own blood, that he kept in his fridge. He would take that, rub it all over, like just pour it all over himself, and then roll around on the canvas and beat off on the canvas.
There you go. Welcome to art. That's all it is. Just juices. Just sweet juice everywhere.
I was like, that's why he was telling me to rub random shit on my painting. But
no, he wanted you to rub shit on it. That's what he wanted you to do.
So check this out. So I come back from college, like, I think, you know, for Christmas break or whatever. This is my first semester, freshman year. And I see like one of my friends from high school or whatever. And we're talking about college a little bit, and he was like, "Yeah, how's college going?" I was like, "Man, it's fucking crazy." And then I started telling this story, and I never heard from him ever since.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like Ferd, you'll love this. When I lived in Seattle,
Yeah.
they would have I don't know what you call it, like I guess it'd be like a pop-up for an artist, and they would do a show, and like if you could get in and like on their list and get in these shows. And one time, well, my girlfriend at the time and I showed up, and we had heard about this from a guy I worked with at the plumbing company I worked at in Ballard. And we show up to this show, get on the list, we get the tickets, whatever, we show up, and these fucking dudes gave themselves enema with paint and just shit on the canvas. And I'm just like, all right, I'm out of here. Like, I don't,
Dude.
like, yeah. And like, I don't know, they did one painting. I was like, can we go to a bar? Can we go to Shorty's? I want to play pinball. I don't want to watch this anymore. Can we get a hot dog? Like, I don't want to watch these dudes.
Can we do something and not art
Yeah.
today?
Can we do something normal? Can we go to a burlesque show? I don't care what we do. I just don't want to watch these dudes shit paint out and then sell it for $1 million. It's fucking disgusting.
Man, yeah. I mean, I think there's of course something for the process, but I think there's sometimes too much
it's called colon cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all to the eye of the beholder, but goddamn,
I know,
dude.
I know. And there was somebody there that was going to buy those paintings, but it wasn't going to be me.
That's
yeah.
different,
This
man.
guy's stuff was in the Met. He was telling us, he was like, "Yeah, some of my paintings are in the Met," and I was like, "Okay, that's really gross."
That is disgusting. Don't touch that thing.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, going on to from that, I don't even know what to say.
Shit pastels. Shit pastels.
Phantom Zone.
Ferd's never gonna talk to me again now. Look at this.
No, I mean, I don't know how you can top that. You did dirty underwear last time, and then you got
hey, and by the way, Vinny, fuck your dirty underwear. That shit is weird.
Oh man.
You didn't buy that, did you? If you did you put it like in a box or something so you don't have to smell that all the time?
No, I didn't buy it. It was a gift. It was a gift at the party.
Okay, is it in a box or something safe?
It's not real. It's not real. Like,
okay, that's what I figured.
I mean, that was that's nothing compared to what I just heard from both of you guys. So yeah,
I would wear, man. If that's not real, I would wear that on your head every Halloween.
I sent the link to Ferd. One went for $300 like last week.
Really?
Yeah. $300.
Cody's got something he wants to show me in his house upstairs or something.
Should get that.
I've already seen the comic wall, so it's got to be something else. It's got to be something else.
I love it.
I should send that to you so you can, when the girls come over, they can like I'll frame it.
Yeah.
To you.
Yes, well, exactly.
Like if the Final Fantasy VII statues don't scare them, I'll just throw that underwear on their head and see what they do. But hold on, it's a real artist. Hey, if you wear it long enough, I'll give you an NFT.
2023 piece, 2023.
I was wondering if that shit was real. I saw your post and I was like, God fucking Christ, this is what we've got to. It's like, oh man.
There was like
Jesus.
There was like 305 views of that on Instagram on my the little reel of it. And like,
I'll tell you what though, Vinny, that I posted that thing in the art little group, that Michael Rieger thing that he gave away. That was real cheap, and I bought all 3.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if I hit the chase, but that chase is selling for $200 on eBay.
Oh, nice. I like my computer, man. That's dope.
Yeah. So he was doing it with I don't know how many like print houses or whatever the fuck he deals in, but yeah, he put those 3 out. The most expensive was $75. The cheapest was $60. And like, if you ever wanted to, like, had any interest in like art or anything, that's a real cheap way to get into art and flip it on eBay for $100 or $150.
That's awesome. I actually missed that post, but I wish I saw it because that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, Bird, what do you got coming down the pipe?
I mean, I don't know if I can follow that up, but I'll try. This is something that I was thinking about as a collector per se, and I mean, this is very niche. This is very just speculative, but I thought it was kind of a cool thing to look for. So we have like first appearances, not necessarily first covers of like characters and whatnot. What if we got first appearances of like actors, or the example I have here, the Panic in Needle Park. It's the first movie. It's not Al Pacino's first movie, but it's the first movie that
He yells
Coppola
in.
noticed. What's that?
First movie he yells in.
No, the first the first movie he yells in.
That's all he
It's
does.
the first movie. I know exactly what you're saying too. He hasn't changed his acting style in any movie since Godfather.
Yeah.
But this is the first movie that Coppola noticed him as an actor and wanted him to play Michael, basically. But I wasn't sure what the first movie that Al Pacino was in, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to look at like sealed like DVDs or Blu-rays, probably DVDs or VHSs of first movies of famous characters.
Betamax.
Betamax would be cool. I couldn't find any of this movie in particular. It's pretty low print or whatever. But yeah, just something to think about. I don't know. VHS is like a funny market. You'll see in the later slides, but I thought it was a pretty cheap kind of spec, and so I guess we'll see.
Well, I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think that with the movie market, like people are paying for memories. So like there's a reason that Back to the Future is going for so much money. There's a reason that Star Wars is going for so much money. There's a reason that Goonies is going for so much money. It's because these are movies that we watched when we were children, and I think that's what makes it collectible. I don't necessarily agree with like some of the prices that are going on like Heritage and eBay, but I think that's what is driving that market. I mean, it would be the same thing with cassettes, CDs, vinyl. But I think it's like, oh man, I remember watching that movie when I was a kid, and I have a lot of money, so I'm gonna buy this perfect, version of this movie or whatever. Vinny, what do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely very nostalgia based. I think that with VHS, with VHS or with like cassettes and things like that, I think the focus, if I was to focus on it, or the few that I have bought in kind of both, it would just be on the most popular things, honestly. Like if I'm doing VHS, I want to think about the most popular movies, and I want to think about the ones that still kind of stand the test of time and that are still around today. So like, yeah, Star Wars. I would do Back to the Future just because it was such a cult favorite, and I love it personally. Karate Kid, just things like that. I think I would do. And then on the music, what's up, Marcus?
Hey, Marcus.
Fuck you, Vinny. Hey, what's up, everybody?
And then in music, I'm not really going for too much of the obscure stuff. I'm going for Biggie, Tupac, Dr. Dre, like Chronic, stuff like that. That's the stuff that I'm going for. I'm not going for Grand Poobah, and I'm not going for the like, don't want to say obscure, but like the lesser known ones, or like I'm just going for the biggest ones, because those, even in video games, if you think about it, a lot of that is based on franchises that are still around, and the ones that are just the biggest. What is going to be the biggest video game, really, like graded, is probably always going to be Super Mario Brothers or Zelda, or something like that.
Cool. Marcus, this kind of is in your wheelhouse too. So basically what I am looking for now in my kind of growing VHS movie collection is first appearances of actors. And so this one's The Panic at Needle Park. It's a movie with Al Pacino. And it's like, it's not his first movie, but it's like his first two direct Hollywood movie. And it's where Coppola found him. Like he saw this movie and was like, I need that guy as my Michael Corleone. Just something different versus what, you know, the popular stuff. Like I have Godfather sealed, graded, or it's on its way here. But I was kind of thinking like, man, it'd be cool to get like the first Al Pacino like flick graded too, just as a fan of the, and it's pretty cheap. So anyway, I don't know what your thoughts on that.
Well, question: who's Al Pacino? Who's that?
He plays Michael Corleone in The Godfather.
It's a joke.
Oh god damn it! Oh son of
It's a joke.
a.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that would really be a thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm not saying
No,
yes or no. I think. I mean, probably now hearing what Vinny is saying to that point, I'm probably shooting for, stuff. Well, I'm gonna say this. So like with this generation, right? Anything Beyonce, anything, Taylor Swift, to that point would be things that if I'm a betting man, those are the things that I'm trying to grab or be a part of right quick. Right. So if I try to go grab something as late as, let's say, Michael J. Fox. Now I would grab Michael J. Fox simply because Back to the Future, right? I would grab any
that's
Back
what we're
to
talking
the
about.
Future
Yep.
because it's more iconic, more so than, hey, this is the first, but before Back to the Future, he was in what's the TV show with the mom and dad and
Not Silver Spoons.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
What is it?
What's the name? What do we do, baby, without us? What do we do,
God,
baby,
I don't know.
without
What
us?
the hell was the name of that show?
Family Ties.
There you go.
Is it Family Ties?
I think you're right.
You have a computer in front of you, Ferd. Look it
I
up.
know. I got all these links set up though, and I don't want to change it up.
I don't know.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
I'll look it up.
Vinny will know when he comes back.
Vinny will have the first like sweater that he wore in that show or something.
Yeah. So yeah, I probably wouldn't want to look for him in that more so than where, like now I would grab anything Al Pacino. I guess that would be Godfather or Tony Montana type shit, right? I would grab those things over maybe his first appearance in that regard.
Yeah.
But that's probably where I would probably move with that. You know what I mean?
I like it. No, it's cool. It was just something I thought of, like, oh, that's kind of a
dope
cool
ass
thing to look
idea,
at,
though.
but
It's a dope ass idea for sure.
I'd grab anything over that bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. No, to be honest, I think it's not bad spec. I think you gotta wait until
right. Yeah.
I think you gotta wait until that hobby
gets going,
keeps evolving. You know what I mean? Because it's just like comics, right? Like people went from collecting runs to collecting first appearances, and then I feel like after that, these other niches started growing. Like the first kind of, when did this artist first? What was the book that they first drew, or kind of made their first debut as an artist, or all the other stuff that people do, collecting double covers and foreigns and newsstands and things
Mark
like
Jewelers.
that. Yeah, Mark Jewelers.
Yeah.
I think that the hobby has to really evolve where people have gotten finished chasing those original things that they're chasing. Yeah. And then I think that's when these obscure things are cool. But I think it's cool already because I think that's something a little different, and you might be able to get something that, for example, maybe didn't have like this massive print run also. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And finding it in pristine condition, sealed, graded, that's something to probably do. But I think you're looking more at the long term, just in my opinion.
Right.
But
yeah,
I don't
that's kind of what I
it's
thought process too.
Yeah.
So.
But I think like some of those big actors, it's not a bad, that's not a bad play,
Yeah.
Kind of like first.
Nah, like I said, I'd go for the superstar shit if I'm gonna do it. I'm not going for his first appearance of, Sylvester Stallone's first appearance was like in some sort of weird ass 1970s porno. Like,
you wouldn't get that?
Do you
really? I'd buy that
just to watch
together.
I just watched a documentary. About the porn industry, and what they were saying was that in the late '70s and early '80s, 100% of all porn actors were Jewish. I don't know
What?
how they figured that out. I swear to God,
fun.
I'll find the link and post it in the group. It's a really good documentary, and these guys obviously know their shit. But like they were saying that like
So
100%
random.
of all actors in porno movies from like 1975 to 1989 or something. I might be wrong about the 89, but they were all 100% Jewish.
So
And I was
what would
okay.
be your porn name?
Mine?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
They
don't
just
know.
like, what the fuck?
Blue Colander? I don't know.
Dude, Mr. Lumpia, duh. I mean, that's would be mine.
Jizzy Gillespie.
Dizzy Gillespie.
Right.
Man,
Well, cool guys. I this is a fucking fun ass show tonight. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in. I know kind of random late Friday night. We'll try and get this wrapped up here. I only got a couple more slides.
Wait, hold on. We need to go back a slide because we haven't even talked about that. Let's talk about this Super
What?
Mario RPG.
What? Oh no. We talked about that last week.
Oh, we did? God
Yeah.
damn it.
Do you
All
want
right.
to talk about it though?
Well, don't buy the new one. Buy the old one.
Would you not buy the new one to play it though?
Well, no. Well, so what you don't know is that when they reissued
Mhm.
the Super Nintendo, it was included. So that's a bad spec because it was reissued with the little. I've got one in my daughter's room. I can bring it out. It's a little tiny Super Nintendo that was preloaded with like 40 games on it. It had Link to the Past, Metroid,
Right.
Super Metroid, and a bunch of
Mhm.
stuff, and that's one of the games that was included on it. So if you're gonna try to spec on that, I would spec on the original Super Nintendo
Oh yeah.
version of it.
For sure. I think I brought that up because I found the strategy guides. If
Yeah.
people were specking on the strategy guides, there's reprints of like that are selling on eBay, and people are thinking that's the actual strategy guide, but they're reprints. And I just found that out. But the actual real one, which I found at an antique store, I grabbed it for like $10. It was like okay condition. They go for like 99 to like one. What am I talking about? Like $69 to $100 because people are actually trying to get the strategy guide because Christmas time and all that. So
that's pretty cool.
And like we just like, I mean, Mark's and I, we've been talking about strategy guides for like ever.
Yes.
And so I just thought like, man, like the RPG's coming out, kids are asking for it. I'm sure dads are playing with their boys, you know, like reliving their childhood with their child. It's just gonna expand that universe, right? So
dude,
that's a good point.
I just started playing Super Mario Wonder with my son.
How's that?
Right.
You've been loving that game, dude.
It's so fun, man. It's so awesome.
That's why maybe I told you, or maybe you told me, I'm not sure. I think you probably told me. Like that's one of the out of all the games, the newer games outside of Metroid, I think it was you that told me like grab Super Mario Brother Wonder.
Bro, it's so good. I actually had the physical, but the person from GameStop got me thinking because they were like, well, I was like, oh, I forgot. Well, we were having a conversation about physical with Switch versus digital, and they were like, oh, well, if you have the physical, you got to carry all those little things around, and they're easy to lose, and you might as well just have it on digital. And then I bought the physical, but then I was like, I ended up buying the digital. I ended up just doing that and keeping the physical sealed because I was like, let me just keep this like this because. I mean, for two reasons. One, because like my little 5-year-old would probably lose that shit, you know, being honest. And then number two, I was like, well, I might as well just keep it for him as the sealed version of it, the first game he ever played, you know?
Yeah, how fucking cool would that be, man?
Yeah.
To have the first, I don't know, I think Turtles was the first game I ever played. That'd be so badass when my parents held that for me.
Yeah, so I did.
That game was terrible.
I know it was terrible. I know it was terrible, but I fucking loved it.
Never beat Turtles.
The only reason you know what happened
at the end is because you watched it on YouTube.
You mean the Konami?
Fucking impossible. Just like Battletoads.
The part where you swim? Oh, fuck that part, man.
The whole fucking game. The whole fucking game was impossible, just like Battletoads. Like nobody beat that game. Like no one beat those games, dude. Those games were impossible to beat.
100%.
Impossible. Most video games, like Nintendo era games, like you needed a even Zelda. Nobody got through the last dungeon crawl without help from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody did, because you had to know a specific path to get through that skull to even get to Ganon, and then you had to know how to beat him. Nobody knew that shit. And there was no internet. There was no internet. So you had to know some old lady on the other side of town that had beat it because she was a grown up or something. Like those games were impossible to beat. Mike Tyson. Nobody knew how the fuck to beat Mike Tyson without Nintendo Power. And you had to watch the guy with the camera behind him. When his camera would flash, and you knew to dodge. I mean, dude, those games were bananas.
I know, yeah, they really
I remember
were.
Mega Man 1. Remember, I don't know if anybody ever got to the end where that boss, like all his body parts were like would break off and fly at you. Like I still to this day don't even know how somebody would.
I didn't beat Bubble Bobble until fucking like 3 years ago because I didn't know you had to input a code on the last stage to get to the final boss. What a crock of bullshit. Like, dude, that is fucking bananas. And I learned that from YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, dude, those games were crazy. I don't know. Like, to this day, I don't know how I beat Metal Gear Solid. I don't know.
The first one or the PlayStation 1?
No, NES.
NES? Yeah. That game
was or too. Snake's Revenge, which was even harder. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, those games were insane.
Forget about it.
Y'all remember Dragon's Lair in the arcade?
Yes. You had to memorize that shit.
The one that looked like a cartoon, and it was so sick, but it cost 50 cents, and you would play for like maybe 30 seconds, and you'd be done. The game was over.
Yeah, that game was set up on laser discs. That game was a laser disc game. And so when you would hit a button to go like a different direction, the laser disc would skip to the next part, and then you would be playing it. That was a laser disc based game.
It was crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. There you go, like Vinny. You need that laser disc sealed. I don't know if it's sealed, but that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very niche. Very niche.
Very niche.
All right. So speaking of video games, Wade and I were kind of talking about this in the back, but I've been kind of going down a rabbit hole with just video games in general, but Sega CD, there's a list of like 10 or 15 games that are like the most expensive games here. Just something to keep an eye out. But KO is like the holy grail of Sega CD. I'm not really sure why. I believe it was low print run, especially Sega CD games in general, just low print run. There's two different versions in America, or the American versions. There's the standard like long Sega CD case. And there's like the standard like regular jewel case. Obviously, you want to go with like the standard Sega CD case versus the jewel case. They just go for more money because obviously nostalgia and all that. Snatcher is another Sega CD game that I think me and Fedora have talked about on past shows. It's evidently, from the research I've looked at, it's the first Kenji or Dojima, the founder of Metal Gear. He distributed that game in America, and it's the first American game under his name, evidently. It precurses Metal Gear Solid 1.
It does. And then the connection to Metal Gear is that there's a little robot that follows you around. He's kind of like the comedic little character. He does funny stuff all the time. And he's called Metal Gear Mark II. Mm-hmm. It's hard to talk about these games now because you have shit like Baldur's Gate 3 going on, like how advanced video games are. Mm-hmm. Because you look back at this game and it's fucking terrible. The game's fucking terrible. Not terrible like they didn't work really hard at it, but just compared to nowadays. Mm-hmm. And if you play like the Snatcher version, like the original version, when you beat the game, there's so many like plots that are just left open, and you don't ever get an answer for them unless you play a later version of the game where they added an extra act, the third act, and they answer the questions for it. Yeah, you're 100% right in the Sega CD because nobody bought that shit.
Yeah,
because
I don't know anyone that had one.
Right, it was so fucking expensive. This came out in like 1991.
Okay.
91 or 92, and it was so fucking expensive nobody could afford it. I knew one kid that had it, and he didn't have that. I don't even remember. He had Night Trap or something. I don't even remember what games he had on it because it was so fucking dumb that we got bored with it. And so yes, all these games are really rare. But yeah, like Snatcher, yes, yeah. There is a connection to Metal Gear, but like it's not that big of a deal.
It's pretty interesting though that like, you know, a game that is tied to the creator of the game goes for so much money. I just thought that was like a cool spec.
No,
different from normal spec, right? So
it is, but like look on eBay, there's hundreds of them. There really are. There's hundred now sealed and all that stuff.
I can't find a sealed one, man. It's impossible to find sealed. They sell though, man. I mean, the ones that do, you know, go. I mean, the average sale I've seen is like 650 to 750. But yeah, you're right. There's quite a bit of them, but people still pay those premiums for it. It's crazy for CIB, you know.
Yeah,
that kind of goes along the lines of what you were talking about in movies. You know, that's like his first one of his first games. You know, Kojima's first game. So that's kind of a niche that people are looking at. But the video game collecting market has been around for almost more than a decade now, you know. So I think that's where some people have gone, whereas the sealed market is a little different and it's feels more new. But
yeah. Marcus, do you ever play Sega in general?
Sega games, yes. Yeah. Sega CD, no. Sega Genesis, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Sega CD was like Neo Geo and
TurboGrafx 16.
TurboGrafx 16, yeah. That entered the market. It was so the goddamn console was $600 in 1992. So your parents had to be millionaires to afford something like that. So I never knew anybody that had a Neo Geo. I never knew anybody that had a TurboGrafx 16 until I was in college, and they bought it from a pawn shop for like $35, and then we played Bonk's Adventure.
Remember that?
Yeah, Bonk's Adventure. That's what we played because it's the only fucking game we could find.
Right.
Yeah. I had a Neo Geo and a TurboGrafx 16.
You did?
Dang.
King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a Sega too, Genesis too,
and a Sega Genesis,
and an NES.
Because you know, like it. So unfortunately, really, and it kind of really isn't
those fucking Neo Geo games were like $200 fucking a pop.
So my mom worked like a lot, and I was the only child. So I was one of those like, okay, you're working a lot. Can I get a Neo Geo? And when I get bored with the Neo Geo, oh man, Mom, they got this new thing out. It's called TurboGrafx 16. Can I get that? Yeah, anything to keep you quiet, Marcus. All right. So, you know, I was the guy, you know, I charging people to come to my house. I always had a hustle going. Hey man, it was $5 to get into the house. $5 to go to the game. You know, it was that kind of shit going on.
Well, the thing about the market was that those came out, and then you had the Super Nintendo, which was, I believe, 16-bit. And it was $200. Nintendo never changed the price of their console until the Wii U came out. So every console that they've ever produced was $200 when it came out until the Wii U. And so, like, you've got these like incredible gaming machines that came out, but they were so goddamn expensive that nobody could afford them. And then you got Nintendo coming in going, "Hey, why don't you play this one for $200?"
Yeah,
and then the games
had that market family entertainment system. You know, I mean, that's the definition of that console. it's for the family, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. And then Wade, we were talking about this backstage, man. So my wife's nephew, he is like a freshman in college, and he's like, he busts out freaking Guitar Hero. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what do you like? You just have a Guitar Hero just chilling or whatever? He's like, yeah, man, I bought this this vintage Guitar Hero guitar for like $200. I'm like, you
It's like
spent
10
$200
years
on
old.
a fucking. I know, the vintage. Yeah, fuck him, man. Anyway, I don't know if he's watching the show, Brian, but what's up? He bought it at a secondhand store for like $200. I remember seeing the same exact guitar at like a Goodwill for like 10, and it didn't have the dongle like you were asking, but I flipped it for like $80. So this is kind of like if you guys see these, like I see them all the time, like not all the time, but I see them quite often at your local Goodwill or like secondhand store. Like grab it and flip it on eBay, man. They go for a lot, especially the nice ones. So
like I sold my
weird.
entire game collection, like all of it, Atari and television to I don't know, PlayStation 3 or whatever, a couple of years, however many years ago. What I didn't sell was any of my Rock Band games, any of the controllers, any of that stuff.
I have all that too.
Yeah, and
Those for
so
good money, man. It's weird.
yeah, and so like I still play Beatles Rock Band. Like I play all that stuff all the time, especially with my kid. And she has a blast playing it. She can sing or do whatever, and I'll play guitar or whatever. But yeah, the thing is that those guitars are cheap pieces of shit, and they break. And then you can only fix them so many times. Like the drum set from Rock Band 1 or whatever, I fixed those goddamn drums like 14 times, and then I threw them in the fucking trash. And I shouldn't have, because like trying to get a drum set for them, yeah, you're going to pay a pretty penny for it because they don't make them anymore. There's no aftermarket. Like there was no
there's no
aftermarket
accessory aftermarket for you.
Yeah,
you couldn't get like a second or
exactly.
like the second hand, right? Yeah.
So
cool.
yeah, there's definitely a market for that stuff because people still play that stuff all the time. I know I do, and like Trey can back this up. Like when I moved to Seattle, it took me like a month and a half or 2 months, maybe 3 months, I can't remember, to get a job. And so to make money, I would go around to all the fucking bars in Seattle and win Rock Band contests for money. And that's how I paid my bills back here in Oklahoma. I mean, for like 3 months. And then like after a couple of months, they're like, hey, listen, man, people are not showing up anymore because they know you're going to kick their ass. We can't let you play anymore. And so then I really had to try to get a job. But for like 3 months, I was just playing Rock Band. And like, I don't know if it's there any, like the Last Supper Club, Shorties would do
LSC.
it.
Yeah, Shorties moved, but yeah, they're still there. They don't do it anymore. I think they canceled because of you, Wade. I think they were like, no, fuck that. We're not doing that shit anymore.
Yeah, right. But I mean, like the Last Supper Club was really fun because like you would get people together and then you would bands, like whole bands, and then you would play against other bands. And they would like give you
funny.
Yeah, the list of songs. And so you would like do 4 songs and then watch other bands do it, and we would just kick their fucking asses and win like $200 a piece. But like, after 2 months of getting their asses destroyed, like they didn't want to play anymore. I mean, dudes are showing up in leather with ball gags and shit on them. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm just trying to play a video game, trying to get involved in your weird fucking fetish shit. But I mean, it was a blast. Yeah. And so for like 3 months, that's what I did.
I love it, man.
Well, I think it's funny that you said people were getting their ass destroyed.
I know they were. They were
leather chaps and ball gags.
Yep.
There's something about getting their ass destroyed and ball gags that just is not sitting well with me.
It's all right. It's all right. It doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Just acknowledge that it happened. You don't have to accept it. Just acknowledge.
This is a different kind of show today, fella.
Yeah.
This is a different kind of show. Marcus came. Marcus missed the good stuff.
Just
How
acknowledge
many people are watching right now? Are we down to one?
We got
Seven.
We got
seven.
7 people. It was at 9 and it dropped down. But you know what? The numbers don't necessarily aren't true sometimes. So we may have 15 people in here. I don't know, but we'll see.
All right.
So I kind of, trying to again expand kind of my collecting like just prowess, but I remember I've been seeing these virtual cop like with the gun like in the box, and I remember I used to have a Sega Saturn and I freaking loved virtual cop, man. I probably played that game like 18 times with my friends and all that. These go for like $80 CIB, which I thought was kind of low. What do you think of accessories and games?
Not to steal your thunder, but kind of go back to Snatcher.
Yeah.
Snatcher came with a gun too, and I don't remember. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember, but they like when months after that game came out, there was a huge deal on Capitol Hill about violence in video games, and the name of that gun, I can't remember what it was called, the Ravager or something. It was brought up in Congress as like it was a big deal. It wasn't called like the ass pounder or the the rapist or anything, or the grapist, but like that gun was center on Capitol Hill because of the firearm that was included in it, just like the one from what you're talking about right now. They thought it encouraged violence among children.
I don't know what it's called. Cool. I know what you're talking about though, the Snatcher gun, because it comes with it. Benny's like,
what's the name? What's the name of this stuff again? The
Snatcher,
porn snatcher, or what?
Nah, it was called. I can't remember what the gun was called. It's like the it's probably called the Catholic priest or something. I don't know.
It's something weird.
Yeah, it's something weird.
Cool. All right. Well, I thought this was kind of cool. So I was on Heritage, or actually my buddy sent me this link on Heritage.
Were you?
What? So these are video games that are sealed, but they had the like famous video game artists actually drew them. So like this Neil Adams,
I've got the Wolverine.
I've
got the Wolverine.
Let me see if they go down to it.
Yeah, I've seen these go at a premium.
They're saying this shit went to Pornville when I showed up. Ironic?
No, I think it's
maybe.
I think it's perfectly, yeah.
Well, the only game that I have in this list is Wolverine.
Oh, cool. I mean, I think it's cool, man. That's
what's
dope,
real funny. What's real funny about Wolverine is that if you play the game, they co-opted Blue Oyster Cult's Frankenstein, and so while you're playing Wolverine, Blue Oyster Cult's Frankenstein will play like while you're like slashing away at people, and I'm surprised they never got in trouble for it.
What made you have this game? Just because of the game, or did you think that?
Because I read comic books when I was a kid, and it was Wolverine. What's better than that?
Well, I'm sorry. I meant like, you still have it, or that's why you bought it back then, or
no? Okay. I have it. Yeah. No, I didn't buy it because the cover. That's the cover it came with. It was fucking Wolverine, man. Like, dude,
I don't remember this. Like, I don't remember this game at all. I don't know.
You
why.
Don't?
I don't.
Man, all right. Well, I don't know how to explain that, but
no, it's okay.
But yeah, like it wasn't a very fun game. I'm gonna be honest with you. It wasn't very fun.
I remember the X-Men game, but that's because I had the arcade and I wanted to play it on my Nintendo. But that's
yeah, but that was a completely that was a coin op. It was completely different. This is like a side scrolling. You're running around, swimming, doing all the shit that like happens in the side scroller. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember what the point of the game was.
The cover's cool. Vinny, do you have any of these?
No, I've seen these sell though. I've seen some of these like comic book cover games sell
Yeah.
for a decent amount. Not like in crazy amount, but I think people do kind of scout these out because there's some crossover between comics and video games.
And the games,
So,
sure.
yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool spec because, I mean, legit artists, like legit comic book artists, are doing artwork on the cover of video games.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, in like, I don't know about American Gladiators, but I would expect that with any game that has anything to do with a Marvel or DC character.
Right? It's kind of what I thought too.
Yeah.
I'm not sponsored by these guys at all by any means, but pricecharting.com. This is like a new resource I just kind of fell into, and it's really cool. You guys should check it out if you want to know, like, not so much like the prices of stuff, but like type in like Metal Gear Solid, for example, and it'll show every single Metal Gear Solid game, even foreign stuff.
Type in just Metal Gear. Type in just Metal Gear.
Do it? Here, I'll do it.
Yeah,
Here,
yeah.
check this out.
On the MSX. This is kind of like what a lot of the stores, they use this as a resource and also for pricing. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's cool because it has all the different versions. Like, I don't care about the prices, right? But like, this is pretty cool, man. Like, I didn't know about all 4 different versions of Metal Gear here.
Yeah, there's Korean versions.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of neat stuff.
Yeah, and this is a cool way to do it, and even better if you go to GameFAQs,
GameFAQs is good too. Yeah,
FAQS, you can find the release dates of these games.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because GameFAQs is what I use to do like walkthroughs for video games. I don't use it as much anymore because it's kind of outdated and it's all type. Like there's no photos or anything. But GameFAQs is the shit, and I use that all the way through college when I would get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Especially that fucking Zelda game on 64, the fucking water temple. That thing was
dude. Talk to Pickles about the water temple, man. He'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're almost done with the show. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us on a Friday night. I'm sure I'll be tuning in to Brian's channel after this. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone for coming through tonight, and we'll end the show with this or that. So I got into my old school PS1 phase, and I've actually been playing both these games. Bust a Groove. Do you guys remember that game at all?
Yep.
Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same concept, different music. What are you guys going? $100.
Parappa the Rapper.
I'm going Bust a Groove. I don't know, man, but they're both fucking fun as hell. You cannot download Bust a Groove, unfortunately, but Parappa the Rapper you can download on PS5 for like $15 if you guys are trying to play that game again. Marcus, you like?
I didn't know that. I'll do that after we get off of here.
And for that reason, I would go with Parappa the Rapper because it seems like it's legs there.
Yeah.
You can still download it, but you can't download Bust a Groove.
Bust a Groove you can't download, but yeah, Parappa the Rapper. And it's weird, like if you type Parappa the Rapper on YouTube, there's like a weird, like younger Gen Z cult following with Parappa the Rapper, like everything. It's pretty cool. Which I appreciate
about this stuff.
What's that?
How did they even find out about this stuff? It's crazy.
Okay, so randomly, my buddy Cooper, who we used to like play these games all the time back in the day.
Say his real name.
Cooper?
No, Shotgun Cooper.
Shotgun Cooper. He's Hollywood Cooper is what I call him.
I call him Shotgun because his first movie he got killed with a shotgun or something.
Yeah, that's right. He was in that movie. Actually starred what's her face? The blonde chick that's going to be in the new Spider-Man movie. I forgot her name. Everyone goes crazy for her. Forgot her name. She's young, blonde, big boobs. Forgot her name.
Jenna Jameson?
No. She's in the new Spider-Man flick. She's in the new Spider-Man flick. Anyway, yeah, I randomly just thought about it, and I was like, I wonder how much these go for. And I actually bought the Japanese version for like $15 just to have it, just for fun. But yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, trade paperback of Hellblazer Volume 20. That's supposed to say Systems of Control, and then the Ultimate Series of Spider-Man for $300.
Ultimate Series,
dude. Right? I don't know
why
the
is Hellraiser worth $300.
Like
that was a weird thing
20.
too. Volume 20, man, and it's like it's a hardcover, It's not sealed. It's in near mint condition, but I don't know, man. That was totally random when I found. Trade paperbacks, man. I don't know.
That's weird. That's
I'll
weird.
take the Ultimates.
Yeah, me too. I take Ultimate. What about you, Marcus?
Oh, it's an Ultimate Series. It's not even no question.
Yeah,
brother. Anything Miles Morales is I'm in there, and I'm gonna even say this too. And I know that a lot of times some people in the chat don't agree with me when I speak about Miles, but I was in the gym yesterday, and it was a random guy. We were all working out. And the gym I go to, everybody kind of, talks to everybody, very cordial. Everybody's kind of working out, doing the thing. Seen the guy with a Venom shirt on, and we were talking about Madam Web. He was a white guy, just regular, we're talking about Madam Web, and he thinks the movie's gonna suck, whatever the case may be. But he brought up something, and he just kind of pulled me off and said this. He was like, "Hey, bro, when do you think they're gonna put Miles in the MCU?" He said, "That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Miles in the MCU." And I was like, "Well, what made you, like, why would you even say that? Well, why are you talking about that?" And he was like, said the same thing. He's like, "Man, my son loves Miles. This generation, they love Miles. I have so many Miles books. I'm just waiting for the Miles train to come, and because it kind of died down a little bit, after COVID." But it's like I'm all in on Miles. No disrespect, to Peter and just the whole thing. And this is a guy that's talking to me about it. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, hey, okay, cool, because we were talking about Madam Web. So it's like, I'm like, anytime I see Miles, I'm grabbing him right now. I mean, Peter is just and just to be fair, Peter's out of a lot of people's pocket range. Peter is out of a lot of people's pocket range. If you can afford an AF-15 right now, I mean, you got a different kind of money anyway. I mean, just be honest with you. I mean, if you know me, I already got 3 of them. So it's like, it's not even about having an AF-15. I got 3 of them. I see what Miles is getting ready to do. That's why anytime I see anything like this, I'm grabbing it. I don't care what's going against it. Unless AF-15.
I feel a little bit different about it. I feel that our generation's Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and the new generation is Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So we're in a situation where guys our age are still reading comic books. And so if you've read comic books your entire life, all you know is Peter Parker.
Yep.
So Miles Morales comes around through Ultimates. I'm not saying that people are like, fuck Miles Morales. Maybe they were. Yeah, there was one guy, I can't remember what his name was, that made all these racist comments about, like, Kentucky Fried Chicken and shit with Miles Morales and shit. I can't remember. If Trey's in the group, he can post the guy's name. But
Trey knows. I mean, I know who you're speaking about, but he doesn't even matter. He's not worth the comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's not. But the thing is that, like, just kind of like, well, I mean, I feel like Kathleen Kennedy forced the issue with Star Wars, where they killed off everybody and tried to usher in a new, like, Star Wars for a next generation. But I mean, despite all that, at the end of the day, I was raised on Peter Parker. He's fine and dandy, great character. Now there's Miles Morales, and the kids these days are gravitating towards Miles Morales.
Do you think it's? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
So to piggyback on what you're saying, do you think it's more of a consumption of the media that kids nowadays are consuming versus like they're not reading comic books, right? So like little kids, but they're playing, like, okay, I'll use my nephew or my wife's nephew as an example. He was like begging and pleading his mom to get PS5 Spider-Man 2. And it was because of Miles, because of the previous video game. And he doesn't read comic books at all. And he likes Peter, but he was like, I want the new Miles game, is what he said. And my point is, like, there's more emphasis in Miles in like video games, I would say, than the other mediums that he's used to consuming. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I kind of disagree with that because the first game was Peter Parker. The second game was Miles Morales. Peter Parker
Right,
went on
yeah.
vacation, and they came back, and then they kind of did the best of both worlds. I don't think it's in their best interest to steer away from Peter Parker because then you're going to
I don't think
alienate.
so either.
You're
No.
going to alienate, the game fan base. Like when I played the game, I didn't give a fuck who I was playing with. Like I didn't care if I was Peter Parker. I didn't care if I was Miles Morales. You're still Spider-Man. But the aging generation that we're in still gravitates towards Peter Parker over Miles Morales. So if you're in that situation, you need to keep that formula the same way that you did through the last game. Now, I played through the end, and I can't quite remember how Spider-Man ended. And a lot of people were bitching because it looks like they're trying to push Peter Parker out of the picture to kind of move towards like Miles Morales. I think that's a bad idea. And I think Marvel kind of learned that, and that's why you have Miles Morales comic books and Peter Parker comic books, because you're just like if you force a new character onto people, and this has been Marvel. I mean, this has been Marvel for the last 10 years. Like, I mean, since Disney bought Marvel, I mean, it's been the whole make it a woman, make it gay, and make it lame. And so they're learning because they're losing so much money so fast that I'm hoping that they realize that you're in a generational gap where you have an older generation that's grown up with your books, but you have this new generation that's coming in, and that you can find a happy medium between the two. I meant to mention this earlier, but last week I went into the comic book store that I used to frequent. I mean, like I'm telling you, like I don't know, most of the books. Well, you can't see them, but the books that I have behind me, most of them I bought from there, and I was talking to them. I walked in. They hadn't seen me in years. I knew it was going to be the same group. And I talked to them. I said, "What's going on? What are you guys reading?" They're like, "We're not reading shit because these books are so fucking terrible." And I was like, "Really?" I said, "What about X-Men?" They're like, "No, we're all reading X-Men. X-Men's fantastic." I said, "What else are you reading?" They're like, "Well, the last like non-Marvel DC book that I read was Department of Truth, but it's done." And like my buddy Scott, who's like the biggest Spider-Man fan ever, like the dude has kind of like me, has Spider-Man 1 through 700. He doesn't even read Spider-Man anymore because it's so fucking bad. So you're going to have to find a happy medium where you can take a new character that the kids really want, foster that character into a role while having a mentor that can pass the reins on to the new character, because Peter Parker has to age at some point. He can't be 23 the rest of my life. I find that irritating. But you've got to find that happy medium where you can take a group and make them happy in the transfer to a new character. I think Marvel's done really bad at that. Not just Marvel, DC too. But you've got to find that medium where you can like keep your old readers invested into a story while you pass the reins to a new character. I think if you can do that, you're going to be very successful. But for Sony, who's had such success with the Spider-Man franchise, they're going to have to do the same thing too with their storytelling in the video games as well. They're two separate things. So I'm hoping that Sony will figure this out and not just go, "Hey, fuck off, Peter Parker. Miles Morales is the new guy. Take Mary Jane and move to Fiji." Like, I think that would be stupid, very stupid on their part, because they're going to lose a customer base that they need to be profitable.
I'll say this. I think it is all about the marketing, and what is being marketed to kids is, that Spider-Verse movie, the video, the Miles video game now. Spidey and His Amazing Friends is being marketed to my 2-year-old and my 5-year-old, and I had nothing to do with that. I obviously am into comics, but that's something that they're watching on their own. My 2-year-old, about to turn 3 in January, my daughter wants a Spider-Gwen themed birthday party.
Yep.
So these are their superheroes. She knows who, like, we were at the store and she saw like a Kamala Khan toy. She was like, "That's Miss Marvel." My son, he in the show Spidey and His Amazing Friends. If any of you all have watched it, probably not, because
I have. I watched it, Vinny.
If you're watching with little kids, like,
Yeah.
you'll see the characters. They got Reptile in there. They've got Miss Marvel. They've got like a lot of these new characters, and that's what they're seeing. So if you think, like, this show is kind of along the lines of, like, it's like a comic version of Paw Patrol. So that's what they're seeing. So that's probably what's going to be the more dominant, versions of the character going forward. I think so, because I think when it comes to comic books, they're catering the Peter Parker comic book to us, and they are doing Miles, but all the media that's where they're getting it from. So.
Yeah, my thing is this, and with no disrespect to Peter Parker and anything else, because I want to make this clear what I'm about to say next. Peter Parker is my Spider-Man as well. Please catch that. I grew up with Peter Parker. I grew up with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, with Firestar and Iceman, and my Doc Ock is a German dude with the glasses, and I mean, it's all of that is my growing up, right? I think what Marvel and DC, when you get to the brass tacks of it, and I can even compare it to music, right? Because me and Vinny work in the music business. The music business is the antiquated part of the music business is people going to buy CDs and vinyl and things like that. Realistically, kids are streaming. They live on Spotify. They live on Apple Music. They live on Spin is Miles in the
that's right. It's nickname, right? Yeah.
Spin is Miles. They live in these new spaces and places. So as we have antiquated stuff on this side in music, I remember talking to a celebrity. I'm not going to say the name. And very much a superstar in their own right. And she said that even I have an expiration date as far as like being popular, as far as like, musically, what I'm saying, being a thing. Like, like one of my favorite rock bands is Guns N' Roses. They're nowhere near as popular as they were when, Welcome to the Jungle came out, and Sweet Child Mine, and and all these other songs, what I'm saying? November Rain it is what it is. So saying all that to say, the common evolution of this is, the kids aren't reading books. The books are more tailored toward us. That's why these books are whatever. They're not even Marvel and DC don't give a fuck about these books no more. It's really just to keep us on the hook as adults. What they're doing, they're putting their lore in new video games. They're doing it in the video games. They're doing it in the Spidey and His Amazing Friends that Vinny is watching with his kids, and now Miles is doing Spin. My whole thing is that what I don't want to see, and I'm saying this as a black man, that's in the comics, right? I don't like either when they take a black person and make them, or a person of a different color and make them a thing, right? Like, okay, like if Superman was black, that's just not my.
Sunshine Superman.
One more time.
Sunshine Superman.
Too funny, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not my thing. Now, what I would like to see is kind of like how they're doing with Spider-Man. It's like Miles is a Spider-Man in his universe. So Peter Parker is still very much relevant, and he's teaching Miles how that works, and or create new characters. You see what I'm saying? Instead of taking these franchise characters that people know and love, and now you're trying to spin them to kind of give them a refresh, create new characters. You see what I'm saying? Or create, things that tell more of the story. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where we win as people, that as we're trying to evolve what comics are going to look like, in the next 10 to 15 years. Because I think that to everybody's point, it's going to be digital. It's going to be, TV related, or, video game based, and, and cartoons. And really, realistically, let's just be real. Everything's going to anime. It ain't even about, Marvel or DC.
American cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about One Piece. It's about, Luffy and and all the rest of those guys, and Pokemon and those things. You know what I'm saying? So in my world, when I say that, I'm excited about anything Miles is doing, it's realistically like, because I see what this generation is doing. We had Saturday cartoons. These kids don't have that. You would get up you'd get up on Saturdays in Saturday morning, and you had all kind of Transformers and and all the other things. And I think the
Hanna-Barbera.
Saved by the Bell.
Man, Tom and Jerry, Woody Woodpecker in the morning when you get up before you go to school, and and Chili Willy the Penguin, and Yogi Bear, and you had all this.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, when you was eating cereal before you
God, I love those days.
Went to school. But that's my point. Like the evolution of that is now they're on YouTube. I just seen a thing where they say kids are now watching. They're not watching Netflix anymore. They're watching all this shit on YouTube.
Yeah, and just kind of piggyback, like one of the questions that you asked, Marcus, was like about Madam Web. So I think the reason that they're introducing Madam Web, I don't know if this movie is going to be very good, but without Madam Web, there's no way to get Miles Morales to the MCU without her.
Absolutely.
And so she is a means to get Venom. She's a means to get Miles Morales from the animated universe. She's a way to bring everybody in. And the bad guy, I don't even know who the fuck he is. I'll be honest with you.
Ezekiel? In the Madam Web movie, Ezekiel?
Yeah. I don't know who he is. Like the last time Madam Web was involved was during the original Spider-Verse, when Spider-Gwen was involved, like when Spider-Punk and everybody showed up. And she was the one that gave everyone the ability to attack that family of people that were killing Spider-Man to feast on them. And so that's so when I saw the trailer for that, I was like, okay, they're bringing her in. She's not as old, but okay, she's going to be the one that can bring everyone together to fight some ominous bad guy. And Marcus, I agree with you 100%. Like, you're right, and I just hope that they can figure out a way to do it without losing their entire fan base. So
I don't think they're going to get rid of Peter. I mean, if you ask anyone right now, there's no reason to.
I don't think they will either. But like, I sure as fuck don't want to read Spider-Man when he's like 43 and his fucking calves don't work, and he's like having to like spider cum his calves together so that he can fucking act like he did when he was 23. I think there needs to be a progression. And I think that just like in the movies, like Peter Parker, like he wants to do other shit. He's been Spider-Man. Now he wants to have a kid, whatever. So he fucks off and then lets Miles Morales do his thing. And then you find out that Peter Parker's in a happier spot. He's got his kid. She's fucking swinging around and doing shit. That's the way it should go. And then Peter Parker's just this mentor. He's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi to Anakin. Like that's like, you know what I mean?
Even more so than that, and even more so than that, I think too, what would be super cool. What is it?
Ageist. Brad cracks me up, man.
Anyway, Brad is hilarious. But even more so than that, it would be cool to have like some sort of Batman Beyond, because I feel like, to your point,
that would work too. That would fucking work too.
I mean, because Terry was being trained by Bruce. It was the future. Bruce was old. You know what I'm saying? The whole 9 and 10. I mean, it's that kind of layout, and that's where it looks like it's going right now. And the reality is this too, man. We have 700 issues of Peter Parker whooping ass and being Peter Parker.
Yeah,
way more than that.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
yeah.
We have
700s when he died.
Yeah, traditionally, supposedly, but that's what I'm saying. But even in this, this generation, our generation knows Gwen is dead and in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
This generation she's Spider-Gwen, and they can't fathom Gwen, dying. But if you go you go to the other Spider-Man movie, where I guess that was Toby trying to catch her.
No, it was Andrew.
That was Andrew Garfield amazing.
Andrew Garfield, and he was, and she got bent. She transformed, but by the clock.
Transformed.
Yeah, but I'm just
He's trans.
But that's my point. Like it's like, bro, it's the anyway. We spent too much time on it. I'm saying we spent too much time on this Ultimate Series.
It's a good talk, though. It's a good talk. I mean, that's a honest debate right there. That we're talking about ways that Marvel can handle their shit other than the way that they've been doing things for the last 10 years. I mean, for fuck's sake, you got Iceman. This is the best example that I can give. You got Iceman since 1963, and then they put out this book called X-Men 94 or whatever, and then Iceman's gay, and then he's not gay. I'm like, I don't have a problem with Iceman being gay. That's not the issue. But how do you have Iceman from 1963 to 1974 loving up women and doing all this shit, and you come out with a book, and then he fucking goddamn Jean Grey makes him gay, or not makes him gay, but calls him out on it, and then he's gay for this book, and then the rest of the time he's straight. That's confusing to people.
That's a way to not have readers anymore,
right?
Alienate readers, and then yeah.
And I'm not saying just to make the gay community happy, just have North Star show up all the time. That's not what I'm talking about. But literally, you have an endless opportunity. They're fucking mutants. You can do anything you want with them. You got this gay character that fucking shoots sprouts out his arm, and he's called Gay Sprout or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. You have an endless opportunity. You can do anything you want. Anything you want with a mutant community in X-Men, but you choose to take a character that's been straight for fucking 60 years and then turn him gay in a book. That didn't make any sense to me.
Remember the New Warriors where they had safe space, and that was that was the most PC book ever. It was crazy. That looked like it's gonna be crazy.
So is it just shitty writing or creativity? What's the issue here? I mean, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that at all. It sounds like shitty writing to me. The same thing. Like the same thing with like everybody got up in arms about they're gonna make a Superman movie about being black. And like that doesn't bother me at all. But like how shitty of a writer do you have that you can't tap into Mr. Terrific and make a movie or something like that? Why do you have to target Superman? There are so many fantastic fucking black characters. You got Static, you got Mr. Terrific, you've got all these fucking people that you could create these wonderful stories about, but it's like, fuck it, I'm lazy. I'm gonna do Superman. Fuck all that shit. I'm just gonna make him black. Okay, cool. Where'd he land? Oh, well, not in Kansas anymore. It was Chicago. Okay, well, fuck you. This is gay. Like, man, come on.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
There's so many good stories. There's so many great stories that you could like fucking like just turn into like mega hits or whatever. But they don't want to. They just want to.
I think the problem is, and I've talked about this on previous, and I'm going to go to the next slide after this, but
you better not.
I'm going to.
You better not.
But here's the thing. Disney acquired Marvel to appeal to guys like us, and that mission statement, quote unquote, has changed. But now they don't have a mission statement, and the reason they acquired the property.
South Park said it perfectly. Make it a woman. Hold on. I wrote it down.
You wrote it down.
You didn't watch Pandaverse?
No.
Dude, oh. Make it a woman, make it gay, and make it lame.
Well,
you didn't watch Pandaverse?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, Kathleen Kennedy is up in arms over South Park.
I bet. I mean,
Bob Iger is too. They touched the nerve.
Well, it's just like my point is like they're just not focusing on the original acquisition of what they acquired Marvel for, and they're going all different types of directions.
Or LucasArts.
Lucas, I can't really talk so much about because I remember reading it back in the day when I was a kid, or when I was, I guess, post college, but because I was intrigued by the acquisition back in the day. But anyway, next slide.
All right.
I thought this was cool because I never knew this existed, but
I don't even know what this is.
G.I. Joe headquarters from 1985 is what it said, and then a Wada Seal 9.8 The Last of Us PS3.
I'm gonna go with Last of Us, even though I got G.I. Joe shit. Is that box looks kind of bad.
That looks like that old like 1960s G.I. Joe shit. You know what I mean?
Sorry, my fault. It's pre-80s. My fault. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, this is that old G.I. Joe.
I just thought it was weird.
Yeah, I think I'd go for the Last of Us. I mean, I do kind of appreciate. I don't know. Now that I think about it, I would like to probably dig into the history of G.I. Joe a little bit further, but I think I would go for Last of Us for sure.
You think that's a good price for $1,500?
For what? Which one?
For the Last of Us. Sorry, the Last of Us.
I don't know. That does seem steep though.
That's steep, but
I was just curious.
I would drop it in a minute.
Yeah,
I'd drop $1,500 in a minute for Last of Us. I'm gonna tell you this: Last of Us had a great run. The show on HBO is a great run.
Amazing.
The game is still moving. People still play it. I think that it has legs. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a game that can, it's still going to be around here for a minute. Where'd it go?
I think he's trying to reconnect. He had some technical issues. No, it's cool. I agree with you guys. I'm right with you guys. Yeah. And I don't know if Wade's coming back, but we'll ask him when he gets back. Okay. Last but not least, Jordan, 1996-97 Z-Force Skybox 9.5, $5,000, and then a sealed Goonies, not graded, but a sealed VHS Goonies which Vinny and Marcus, this kind of hits your like getting the memory of like that show, that movie, yada yada. That's where the market's at, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys go with?
From a nostalgia perspective, I'd probably go with the Goonies, but if that Jordan card regularly commands, I don't really know too much about this card, but I think from an investment perspective, I might go for the Jordan, just because Goonies, I don't know if it's going to resonate with the generation.
I'm going with the Jordan card.
I'm going Jordan too. Yeah.
Even though I love Goonies. I love Goonies.
Jordan.
And Wade, what about the previous slide? What would you go with on the previous one?
What it was G.I. Joe and The Last of Us.
9.8, yeah. We all said Last of Us, but and it's pre-1980, so it wasn't like it was just a headquarters for like the 70s.
The only reason I'm going to say Last of Us is because I'm pretty sure there's a market for it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it'd probably be pretty cool to have that G.I. Joe base, but like, let's just say you pay $1,500 for it. What's the likelihood that you're going to be able to get rid of it? I mean,
that's kind of what I thought too.
Yeah, and so Last of Us, and then definitely the Jordan card.
Yeah, I would go the Jordan card.
Yeah, I mean, here's where I'm at, Vinny. Ferd, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but Vinny too.
Yeah,
asshole, Vinny. I'm about and me and Vinny be having these conversations all the time. Man, I'm trying to shrink down my shit.
Yeah.
All them big ass toys and and big ass, Star Destroyer and and all that shit that's taking up all that space compared to if I could have a $5,000 Jordan card compared to a $5,000 Star Destroyer. I mean, a card can sit in a drawer, in a case, in a safe. You know what I'm saying? In my house.
Yeah.
That Lego Star Destroyer that I have upstairs. Crazy. It's big ass box. Just I gotta get it out. I'm going crazy. I'm literally going crazy. I don't even want to know what Vinny got over there.
Too much. Gotta go.
I was just shocked at that. So I put in the little text there. The sealed Goonies had 17 bids. So I mean, that's a strong auction, right? For $5,000. Yeah. It wasn't a buy it now. Just something to kind of think about too. So, well, cool. That's our show, man. We went 2 hours. I didn't think we were going that long, but I had fun. Any closing thoughts, fellas? All right.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll try and do this every 2 weeks, if not weekly, whenever we got time and whenever you guys got time. You all stay safe out there. Appreciate you, Marcus. Appreciate you, Wade, for coming in again.
Yeah.
Vinny, of course, man. I know you're super busy with Brian's show too. But yeah, I had a great time and just chit-chatting with you guys, getting a lot of your guys' opinions about the stuff I presented today. And yeah, I appreciate the good comments too, man. We had some pretty good discussions as well. Yeah. And yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Have a good weekend. Stay safe out there. And we'll see you all next time. Let me go. Oh, shout out to 78 points. He's traveling right now. He's in Texas.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's in Texas. He's in my area.
He's traveling tonight to your area. So he might be sniffing you out, Marcus. Who knows? Might be sniffing you. Yeah.
I'm gonna rape him when I see him.
Ooh, rape time.
Yes. Welcome to Rapeville 78.
Yeah, no means yes.